This house of the Madrigal family was destroyed, and everyone blames Mirabel. She's the only one in her family who does not possess a magical gift. She is Mirabel. When she was a child, her grandmother, Alma, told her a part of the story about how, many years ago, a candle granted her entire family a special miracle. Alma and her husband, Pedro, had to leave their home, but on their journey, they encountered danger, and her grandfather had to sacrifice himself for his wife and children. And in that darkest moment, the magic candle appeared and granted them their miracle. It drove away the dangers and raised mountains that protected Alma and her children from the rest of the world. A little house with magic powers appeared, which would become the new home of the Madrigal family. But Alma did not tell the whole story to Mirabel. When each of Alma's children grew up, this miracle granted them a magical gift, just like it did for her grandchildren. Alma tells this story to her granddaughter on the day the candle is supposed to give Mirabel her gift. Years go by, and Mirabel is now grown up, and we meet her sisters. Isabela is the eldest, who has the gift of creating beautiful plants. Mirabel doesn't get along with Isabela because she's the perfect daughter. Luisa is the middle sister, who has the gift of physical strength, and it seems like nothing weighs on Luisa, but we'll see that this is not the case. We also meet Mirabel's uncles and aunts. There's her Aunt Peppa, who can control the weather with her mood, her Uncle Bruno, who had the power to see the future, but mysteriously disappeared years ago, and Mirabel's mother, Giulietta, who can heal people with her cooking. We can see that each member of the family acquires their identity from what they can offer their family. Their value comes from how much they can serve their community. Just a quick pause to say that if you're enjoying this video and haven't subscribed yet, please consider subscribing. It would mean a lot and really helps me keep making more videos and content like this. Alright, let's get back to the story. We learn that Mirabel's ceremony, years ago, was an absolute failure. She didn't receive any gift. Her grandmother was extremely disappointed and now tends to keep Mirabel at a distance. Her entire family excludes Mirabel. And since she has no gift to offer the community, she herself feels that she's not worth much to them. Mirabel notices something no one else did. The house started to crack and fall apart, and the candle was beginning to go out. Mirabel warns her family, but when they come out, everything seems fine. Mirabel knows that Luisa, her strong sister, has been more nervous than usual and tries to talk to her, but Luisa ignores her and continues with her work. But finally, Luisa tells Mirabel that even though her grandmother and her family expect her to be the strong one, she feels like she's about to break. The pressure is too much. She feels that if she can't contribute to the family, then she's worthless. Luisa confesses to Mirabel that when she said she saw the cracks, there were moments when she felt weak and lost her strength. She tells Mirabel that years ago, Uncle Bruno had a disturbing vision about something similar, and that he disappeared right after that. Mirabel goes to Uncle Bruno's old cave. She climbs to the top and finds what she's looking for, one of Bruno's visions, but it's fractured. However, Mirabel begins to piece it together and realizes that the person who appears in the vision was herself. She was the one causing the magic of the house and the gifts of her family to be damaged. Mirabel runs away with the vision before anyone notices that something very bad is about to happen. Mirabel asks her aunts and uncles what it means to appear in one of Bruno's visions. They explain to her that they don't talk about Bruno, but everything that appears in his visions comes true. Mirabel continues her mission and finishes assembling the fragments of the vision. She realizes something terrible. The vision showed Mirabel and the little house full of cracks on the verge of collapsing. Her father enters the room and panics when he sees the vision. He tells Mirabel not to say anything. Dolores overhears them, and Dolores can't keep a single secret. When the whole family is gathered for dinner, the house begins to crack. Luisa starts to lose her strength, and Dolores reveals Mirabel's secret to everyone. The vision lands right in front of the grandmother, who looks at Mirabel with contempt and disappointment. The house begins to fall apart even more. Mirabel sees that some rats are carrying away fragments of the vision, follows them, and finds a secret entrance. And there appears her Uncle Bruno. Mirabel realizes that Bruno never left the house, hidden there since he disappeared, and that he's been trying to repair the cracks that appear in the house. Bruno tells Mirabel that on the night she didn't receive her gift, the grandmother asked him to see the future. Bruno saw the image of Mirabel and the house falling apart. Bruno knew that people blamed him for everything that happened after he made a prophecy. To protect Mirabel and her family, Bruno decided to disappear. However, he loved them too much to truly leave, so he remained hidden within the walls of the house for years without anyone knowing. Mirabel asks Bruno to have a new vision, to see more and find out how she can help the family. Bruno begins the ritual to have a vision and sees exactly the same thing. But something different appears, a butterfly that guides Mirabel to the magic candle. And the only way to make the candle shine brighter is by giving someone a hug, Isabela. But Mirabel doesn't like this idea. Isabela was the perfect daughter and was always overshadowing Mirabel and her qualities. But Mirabel makes the effort. She talks to her sister and discovers that Isabela has always felt pressured by their grandmother and family, feeling the need to always be perfect and beautiful and to produce flawless flowers. And in that moment, instead of producing a beautiful flower, Isabela creates a cactus, and she's happy. She was able to make something imperfect, to be imperfect. Mirabel and Isabela connect and share a hug, and the magical candle begins to shine brighter than ever, and the cracks begin to disappear. However, their grandmother arrives angrily and blames Mirabel for everything that's happening. Mirabel confronts her grandmother and tells her that what's really destroying their family is her obsession with perfection and the pressure she puts on everyone. The house begins to collapse. Everyone runs outside, but Mirabel rushes to save the candle. She manages to rescue it, but even so, the candle goes out forever. Mirabel feels guilty for everything and decides to leave the house. Her grandmother arrives, and they both sit by the river. The grandmother tells Mirabel that she had not been able to return to that place because it was there that they received their miracle and where her husband had died. The grandmother confesses that she'd imagined a completely different life. She was a young woman who had fallen in love with a good man and began building a family with the love of her life. But an armed conflict broke out in her village, and this couple, with their 3 babies, had to flee. The soldiers caught up to them, and Pedro saw that he had no other option. He kissed the love of his life and his 3 children. He gave his candle to Alma and sacrificed himself for them. She fell to her knees, placing the candle on the ground, and it was there that the miracle appeared. The one that would protect Alma in this new life she had to face. The miracle drove the invaders away and raised the mountains to protect Alma and her family. The film never tells us what kind of magic created this miracle, but it seems to me that it was the great love Pedro had for Alma. A love so strong that it would protect her forever. From that moment on, we see Alma become more and more emotionally distant as the years go by. If we analyze this scene, we notice that the mountains that protected Alma are actually emotional barriers that distance her from the trauma. She chose to block out that traumatic event, to never return to the river. And so, Alma focused on moving her family forward and doing everything perfectly out of fear of losing it all again. Mirabel understands the reason why her grandmother acted the way she did, the fear and the pain that drove her actions. Alma apologizes to her, telling her that she forgot who the miracle was meant for, that in trying to preserve the magic at all costs, she ended up pressuring and hurting her family. And the most beautiful part of this is that Mirabel does not hold it against her grandmother. She understands that Alma has suffered greatly and that it's thanks to her that they're a family. In that moment, a butterfly appears. Alma looks at her granddaughter and tells her that she used to pray to Pedro for help, and she is certain that he sent Mirabel to her. Mirabel and her grandmother embrace. Bruno's vision is fulfilled. The one that said that, in order to fix everything, Mirabel would have to give someone a hug. That vision wasn't about Isabela. It was about her grandmother. Bruno arrives to defend Mirabel, but his mother sees him and gives him a huge hug. The 3 of them return to their home, but their little house is still destroyed. The grandmother apologizes to her children, and everyone is happy that Bruno's returned. The villagers come to help the Madrigal family rebuild their home. The family agrees to give Mirabel the honor of placing the doorknob on their new little house, and they tell her that she is everyone's gift. And everyone gets their gifts back, and the Madrigal family is more united than ever. This is a great film about the complexity and dynamics of a large family. The little house represents the state of the family. Every time the grandmother hurts or shows disdain toward a family member for being less than perfect, the house falls apart more and more. Because there's only so much pressure and expectation a person can bear. Even though the grandmother demanded perfection from her family because she loved them, her ways of showing love definitely bordered on being harmful. And this film does a great job of showing us that not all forms of love are the right ones, especially when they come from a place of fear and trauma. But the most beautiful thing about this film is that Mirabel and her family understood where Alma's actions came from. They forgave her, and they chose to remain a united family, with all the craziness and challenges that this implies. However, that did not happen until Alma acknowledged her mistakes and asked for forgiveness. This great film teaches us how complicated love for our family can be, but that in the end, such love can be so beautiful that it feels very much like a miracle. Thanks for staying until the end of the video. Don't forget to subscribe and share it with a friend who you think might enjoy it. And you and I'll see you in the next one.